Have you ever wondered how to turn something as unsightly as this into this? In this video, I'm going to show you how to transform an unused or unloved part of your garden into a beautiful paradise of lush foliage that's full of colour, different heights, textures, and masses of stunning flowers that'll light up a once dull area. As you can see, this area is a complete mess. I've recently had some earthworks done, a path laid, and have put up a greenhouse too. Because it looks so terrible right now, I thought it was a perfect opportunity for a good old-fashioned garden makeover, and I'm bringing you along for the ride as I turn this into a mini paradise that not only you and I will love, but so will the birds and bees. The first step is to decide on the size and shape of the garden bed. Now this is a really important part of the process, so don't rush it. A great way to help visualize the bed and make sure you get natural curves that aren't too sharp or have any straight edges is to grab a hose and lay it out where you want the garden edge to be. This way you can keep making minor adjustments to the hose to ensure you get it just right. Make sure you take a few steps back and look at the bed from all angles before deciding, as you might be happy from one side but not the other. Once the hose is in its final position, grab a spade and dig into the soil at a 45-degree angle on either side along the entire length of the hose to create a wedge that can easily be removed. Another reason we dig at a 45-degree angle is so the outer edge of the bed has some support when mowers or foot traffic get too close. If we were to dig straight down, the lawn edge could collapse into the garden. Once you're happy, remove the hose and lift out the grass wedges. Now that the size and shape is sorted, it's time to clean up and prepare the soil. More often than not, you'll have grass and weeds or even both in the area, so it's important that we remove it all now to prevent any unnecessary weeding in the future. I personally have quite a bit of kikuyu in my lawn, which is a running grass that can be extremely invasive if not removed. So I'm going to dig all of mine out at a decent depth to ensure I get the roots. I also have quite a few hellebores in this area, so we're going to dig them all out and reuse them in the new design. Hellebores are as tough as nails and transplant really well, plus we already know they love it in this area. Digging out lawn or weeds can be really tough work, and I understand it's just not doable for all of us. So there are other options, like spraying with glyphosate. Glyphosate can be picked up at pretty much any hardware, but please be careful because it will kill whatever it touches. And it's not that good for us either, so make sure you read the safety instructions on the back. If you have an area like this one next to the glass house that's full of concrete and rocks and rubble, then that stuff will have to be removed and new soil brought in so we can plant that area out too. Once we've removed all the grass and weeds or waited a few weeks for the spray to kill them off, it's time to turn over the soil and break it up with a pitchfork or spade to remove any compaction and to let air, water and nutrients in. Most importantly, it will make it nice and easy for our new plants' root systems to take off. Plant selection is my favourite part. I honestly get that feeling I had as a kid when I went into a lolly shop or a bakery. Only now it's nurseries, and unfortunately picking out plants has to be a little more thought out. Firstly, we need to know how much sun the garden bed gets, and a lot of things can alter this, like what way the bed faces, is it close to a house, are there any large trees nearby, and the list goes on. But this part is vital because it lets us know what type of plants we can and can't choose from. This area over here gets a lot more sunlight because the house stops to make way for the footpath and the water tanks. This means I need to choose mostly shade-loving plants, but I can throw in some sun lovers too. Secondly, we need to think about design. Designing a garden is one of those things that can be as simple or as complex as you want. I recommend sketching out a rough plan and a plant list to help you visualise the garden and understand your space. I've decided to keep it nice and simple and focus on three key things: colours, textures and heights. I've decided to go with cooler tones like blues, purples, creams and whites with a few pops of yellow and pink thrown in. The reason I've chosen to go with these colours is that the existing hydrangeas are blue and purple, and I already have a warmer toned perennial bed out in the front garden. Gardening truly is personal, so choose whatever colours you like. Texture might not be at the front of your mind when planning out a new garden bed, but changing up the textures of foliage can be just as impactful as a shrub covered in flowers. There are so many different types of foliage to choose from, including serrated, lobed, long, broad, round, and variegated. Have some fun with it and don't be afraid to experiment with different foliage combinations. Heights are important for a fairly obvious reason. If you put the tall ones at the front and the small ones at the back, then they'll hardly be seen and you won't get to enjoy them as much. Layering is a method of planting the smaller plants at the front, medium plants in the middle, and taller plants at the back. The plants I've chosen for this perennial garden are, for the shady parts, we have Heuchera, Astilbe, Brunnera, and Hellebore. For the spots that get a bit more sun, I've chosen Salvia, Penstemon, Dahlia, Nepeta, and Buxus. How you place your plants can change the entire look of the garden, so be sure to take a few steps and look at it from different angles, just like we did at the beginning. Two of my top tips are 1, don't plant in straight lines, and 2, plant in uneven numbers. This will give you a much more natural look and feel. Also, make sure you read the plant labels so you know exactly how big the plant will grow and how close to plant them together. If you're anything like me though, you might turn a blind eye to some of those labels every now and then and try and squeeze as much as you can into each garden bed. Now you've made some decisions, it's time to get planting. A tip to speed up the growth of your plant is to make sure you dig the hole 2 to 3 times the size of the pot that it's in, so that the roots have nice soft soil to grow through rather than struggling to penetrate a hard soil wall. Another tip is to make sure we tease out the roots before planting. This will change the direction of the roots, meaning they can spread through the soil much easier, get more nutrients, and establish much quicker. Now all of your plants are in, it's time to put a light cover of compost over the soil. It's like giving your new garden a little blanket. I'm using mushroom compost because the plants, soil, and worms love it, but it's important not to lay it too thick as it can rot away your young plants in no time. The main reasons we use compost is to stop the weeds, keep the soil at a desirable temperature for the plants, lock in moisture, and also feed the soil. Plus it looks great too. All the hard work is done, so it's almost time to kick back and enjoy your new garden. All that's left to do is give your plants a good drink with Hoselink Seaweed Tonic, or as I like to call it, plant medicine. Now you can sit back, relax, and watch your little slice of paradise grow. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did and have taken away some inspiration for your own outside space. To maintain your new garden, I recommend feeding with Hoselink's liquid garden fertiliser every 2 to 3 weeks. If you have any questions in relation to your garden project, just leave them in the comment box below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Happy gardening. If you enjoy getting out in the garden and want some more tips, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel up here or go and watch another video just here.